Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to Cinematic Apocalypse. This is my mod for Fallout 4. The focus of this was to increase contrast by making the darks darker and not by making the brights any brighter. I thought they were bright enough as it was. Also, another focus was to make the colors pop out a lot more. So I'm just going to take the variety of Diamond City as an opportunity to kind of show you pretty succinctly what I did here. One of the focuses was sharpening textures. Everything was really blurred out. Here's the mod off. You look around, you know, you look over here on the floor. You see this dude's his suit and everything. It's kind of blurred out. The details aren't immediately visible. You know, everything seems a little faded. Right here, you can see that even just looking straight at the ground, the textures are a lot sharper. And that's a little bit of the contrast. That's also a specific sharpening effect I use, Luma Sharpen.
Public squatting? Want a bathroom?
Cares about you.
I added a sepia filter to the game as well. This is off. This is on. Bring out a little bit of the reds. I used a lot of tone mapping, a lot of gamma adjustments on the highlights and shadows to really bring the shadows together. You'll find without this graphics mod, there'll be a lot of shadows that'll stick out. A lot of shadows that won't make too much sense on things, and it's not the easiest to find right here. Indoor light sources are really obvious, and in the loading screens you can tell as well. But I did a lot of work to just blend things together while increasing contrast for like the mod says, you know, more cinematic effect. One thing I added, as you can that you'll be able to see right here, is I added a depth of field effect to the mod. There is a glitch with this that I have not figured out how to fix yet, and it might be actually just a part of Reshade. But the depth of field renders over the HUD. As you'll see right here in the background towards the top right, the Nuka-Cola sign and the life is a race sign were blurred out. Now they're in focus. I'll do it again. And the idea with this depth of field was to tweak it so that it's not obvious. It's really just kind of becomes obvious once you actually bring the object into focus, and it kind of looks like your eyes are focusing on it. I went through a lot of iterations of the mod where the depth of field was way too bokeh, way too actually cinematic looking for gameplay purposes. You'll see right here, I can highlight that little glitch. Part of the Diamond City security label is blurred out, part of it isn't right here. Because it's all dependent on what's sitting in front of this guy, the actual 3D model. For some reason, Reshade isn't able to recognize the HUD right now. Maybe they'll be able to fix it in later editions. Maybe it's something I'm doing that's stupid that you guys can let me know. I really worked on contrast adjustments. I really wanted to make the colors come out. I worked on bringing out the reds less than anything else, really. Just because, as it was, they stood out a lot already. Even though the game had a really blue vibe, and then I'm adding a sepia filter to it, so I didn't want to bring the reds out too much. I think it gives the game a little bit more of a stalkery vibe, or almost sometimes even a westerny vibe. And I think it fits the game a lot better than the original color spectrum. The changes are really subtle. I added bloom, colored bloom. So there's a good bit of color to the bloom. Just because I thought it was realistic. You know, when light is actually in real life hits an object, there's an effect on your eyes where the color of that object is bleeding off, and I wanted to mimic that. one thing I kept doing was I kept walking down this tunnel to test to see how the mod was doing, because it's just so this was where it was blatantly obvious how faded everything was. Like this whole hallway, this whole corridor, especially at nighttime, should be a shadow. I mean, like, there's barely any light able to get in here. And so I was really happy that I was able to add that effect in there, especially at nighttime, or like when it's starting to become dusk. It becomes obvious. There's barely anything visible here. You need a flashlight, except for unless you're right around immediately around these light sources. So yeah, that's my mod. I wanted to add a more cinematic, more immersive feel to the game, a lot more of a polished vibe to the game, one that was made it feel a lot more like a AAA game, because Bethesda has a long history of making games that in every possible way really don't feel finished.